Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news and commentary on all things Chicago Red Stars. I'm your host, LT.
And I'm your co-host, Liz.
For only the third time in club history, the Red Stars have won a match at Providence Park. This being only their fifth win against the Thorns in 32 meetings across, 11 years of the NWSL, 12 years, whatever it is now. 1-0 win, snap the 3-game losing streak, jump back into 7th place on the table. Probably the best 70 minutes this team has played all season. I was in love with this match for the most part and everything I was watching. We'll get into the parts that I didn't like later on, but what were your initial thoughts when you saw that lineup sheet and thought it was very immediate and apparent?
We're doing the thing.
We're doing the thing.
That was my immediate reaction is we're finally doing what we should have been doing, in my opinion, based on the personnel that we have. That, again, things would change given other situations. But given the personnel, that was the choice. And as soon as the game started, you could tell that shift and the fact that we now have Ludmilla changed everything. Now, I want to pump the brakes. I'm very excited. Don't get me wrong. But we got to do this over multiple games. And also to throw out the stats that you're talking about on the flip side of the Thorns, they have now lost 4 straight games for the first time in their history.
Wild.
And there were lots of Portland tears after the game. And I loved every moment of it. Love every single moment of that. Because
Liz is energized by Portland Thorn tears.
Given the fact that they view our team as not good enough. We've never we're an easy win for them. We're a team that they should never lose to. And we're a perennial playoff team. So the disrespect that their fan base gives the Red Stars really bothers me. And so to win on their home turf,
awful turf.
Yes, is it just makes it a little bit sweeter. Yeah, it would have been great to win at home if it would have been a home game, but to win in that place where everybody says it's so hard to win, which it is, in front of all of their fans and all of that stuff, love it. Also, big shout out. I know we're going to get into a lot of things, but big shout out to Kuika because of all of the things that happened in the offseason. And then she gets to go back there and win. She had a heck of a game, just awesome for her. But no, all of the Portland Tears, their fans are in disarray. Reading on social media, they are essentially burn the team down and start over type thing, from the GM all the way down. They're losing their minds. Kind of love it because but again, it's still that disrespect. So I'm still a little irritated because it's they losing to us is the straw that broke everything. But yeah, I just to see their fan base this upset is hilarious to me because they've always been so pretentious. And so I love it. I love it for the Red Stars. This is a huge win for them against a team, again, perennial playoff team, perennial championship team that makes constantly making semifinals, championships, whatever. Super talented team to get that win on the road. Again, not surprised that the Red Stars won on the road because we don't win at home, but yeah, just super excited. I could ramble about this for hours.
Yeah, I just Portland in general, their whole season so far has been I wouldn't say too dissimilar to the Red Stars, but at opposite points. Portland started off terribly, and everyone thought they were gonna have a horrible season. Yeah. Chicago, on the other hand, started off pretty well, and people were surprised at how well Chicago was doing. Chicago kind of flatlined in the middle and have started dropping off as of late. Portland skyrocketed in the middle and have been on a free fall as of late. And that amounts to Chicago being within 1 point of them on the table. Um, so when you just look at the teams together, you would still think that Portland, if you don't look at their recent like free fall, you would think that they're still having a better season than Chicago, but they're quite literally having the same season as Chicago. And for the Red Stars to come into this match and, you know, finally do the thing that we've been talking about, like this is the lineup. Um, like minus that outside back battle between Taylor and Tatum still kind of looming. Cam and Maxi could even get in there if they want to when they're back healthy. Um, like someone finally must have heard our constant begging and put Julia Grosso at defensive mid and Cari Roccaro at center back. Um, like the front line, Mal, Ludmilla, Ali, Mies, perfection. The midfield, exactly how we'd want it to be with B and Julia, missing Sam Staub, but Cari Roccaro, Hannah stepping up, Natu's incredible. Like everyone's like, I don't know. It's all
Gelling.
just,
It's
it
gelling.
looks like a lineup where everyone is playing where they should be playing. And we don't see that often. Um, Even if they had lost this match, I would still be saying this because I had no doubt that Julia would have played well in that position, and she did. And I had no doubt that Cari would be able to play well at center back, and she did. So overall,
Regardless of the commentators continually
this
saying that Carrie's not going to be a good center back.
them constantly saying they need to attack Cari Roccaro. She is not a center back. She has no experience at center back. Meanwhile, Cari Roccaro had 11 starts on the 2019 NWSL champion North Carolina Courage, and 6 of those starts were at center back. Please give me a break. Give me a
One of the
break. She can.
best North Carolina teams, like
They lost
talented
what,
teams.
like 3 matches or something?
Yeah,
Two
they were
matches?
insanely good.
She can play center back. She can play center back.
Yes.
She can play defensive mid. She can play central mid. She can play attacking mid. She's a very versatile player. But
Yes.
at center back for Chicago in the limited time that they had used her in the Summer Cup and now this last match, um, I like her way better at center back than I do defensive mid. She had her ability to just look forward and see what she needs to do without having to worry about what's happening behind her or filling in to the gaps behind her. Um, and then her ability to just play defense. Her one-on-ones were all fantastic this match. Like I could not say enough about how well Cari Roccaro was playing in this match and how much better of a center back I think she is than a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I feel like I completely agree. And it's one of those things where it's like I don't want it to change. I hope that we continue because she was great. So good. Again, it's a veteran next to Hannah Anderson, which is helpful. Somebody that's played the position. It's not like, as you just said, it's not like she's new to it. I just think that with Grosso, then that she gets to move into the spot that she's meant to play. And we got to see the magic that she can create. And just I don't know. There's so many different things to talk about with the team with
Well, let's just stick with the defense right now.
okay, defense.
Let's
Let's
talk
go with
about the
defense.
defense.
Um Taylor Malum coming in had a fantastic game. She was getting up and down the side, had some excellent recovery runs that she made because Portland's Portland, like they're talented. And I really appreciated what she brought to the table. And we've already talked about Carrie, just and Hannah Anderson. She is just getting better and better every single game. And I just I cannot wait to see what she is going to continue on in this season and then into the next. And then Kuika, as I said, the return for her back to Portland and everything that involved. And she balled out. Like, I don't even know how else to say it. She was everywhere, it felt like. She was up the field, playing excellent defense, recovery runs, stopping plays before they were going to happen that were getting into the box, blocking crosses, just doing what Kuika does. And when she's on the outside and we have the ability to put her on the outside, she's so much better. She's excellent as a center back, but she even elevates her game even more when she plays outside.
Her positioning all match was perfect. Um, I was so surprised at how often our outside backs could get up the field. It's not something that are used to seeing, but if we do see it, we'll see one side move up the field while the other one is staying back, and we'll see the other one move up the field while the other one's staying back. But this match, like if Taylor was up on that left side, Natsu was also up on that right side. Like they had so much trust in Cari and Hannah and whoever was staying back, either B or Julia, um, in being able to hold any counter that Portland would do if they had lost possession. I liked the amount of trust that they were giving their giving the people behind them to be able to move everybody up on offense. And but just the amount of times that Kuika was just positioned well defensively, and then whenever the ball was moving and progressing forward, she was always there as an outlet on that right side. I don't think we've seen that since she was still on the outside, or even early in the season when Maxi was getting up that right side really easily. So it's nice to have that presence back, which you don't get when she's at center back. But like you said, she's a fantastic center back. She's just better on the outside, which is crazy to
Which is
have that
wild to say,
kind of
yeah.
to kind of have that kind of versatility where you can have someone who is like a top tier, top quality center back who plays center back for her national team, and wins defensive or wins player of the year for her country year in and year out, as a center back. You can just push her onto the right side where she's also fantastic and a game changer, and makes an impact. She is probably my player of the year right now, and I think has been for a while. Maybe even as far back as the first match of the season, because I cannot shut up about Natalia Kuika, but it's going to be very hard for anybody to surpass my thoughts on her being the best player on the Red Stars this season. But as for the rest of the defense, like we've talked enough, I think, about Hannah. She just gets better, and is just did fantastic work against a good Portland front line. And
Sophia
then
Smith is no joke.
yeah, I mean, no joke, to the point where when they moved Sophia to the other side, they swapped Taylor and Natalia because they wanted
Yeah.
Natalia on her.
Yeah.
And but then, Taylor just stepping up when her name was called. Like I said before, she hadn't started a match since that Wrigley match. And then started last week, started this week. Hasn't put a, wrong foot in yet, and is just winning that battle every week, and just continues to have success, which I didn't see in the beginning of the season that she was having. She's much better now than she was at the beginning of the season, and that's really cool to see. And then I already, Cari's just I like center back Cari Roccaro. I that is where I want her to be, and that is where I want her to stay for now.
Yeah. Given who we have in the midfield now, I feel like that's gotta be it has to be. Like, I don't know how Lauren can watch that game and not see that is the move, because as we talked about, Portland's going to let us possess, which they did.
Yeah.
And that was interesting at times. And so I think that it's just one of those things where having a midfield, I think it helped our midfield too. To move into talking about them, I guess. That we possessed and it was helpful, and Grosso actually got to see the field and wasn't the front line. She got to see the front line instead of being the front line, which was helpful. And she's just so impressive. I was fun that her family got to be at the game. And it's just, which I know that is one of the reasons she made the move that she did, is because she wanted to be closer to family. So that was really nice. But I really am liking the start of the connection that I see between B and Julia. It's it's going to grow into something great because B brings that height, brings that physicality. Grosso's not going to bring that. They offset each other really well with
Yeah.
their skill sets, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. Julia Grosso, B. Franklin, that pairing is just it's whatever you need, the other one has. So when they're both back there, if you need someone to step up defensively and be a physical presence, have that height advantage on counterattacks or long balls into the box or whatever, B can be that. And if you need someone back there who can distribute forward, who can break out of pressure, can break lines, that's Julia. And her passing, 39 completed passes, 93% accuracy. The ones that she missed were like the ones that I saw her miss were just miscommunications with people down the line. Just getting a ball up the line that, Mal didn't make a run or Mies didn't make a run that she thought they were going to make. 50 touches in her new position as opposed to 31 last week. And she only had 20 passes last week too, which we talked about extensively, how moving her back into this defensive role in that double pivot was I think the right move to be able to get her more into a more comfortable position that she's so used to being in. And I love how both of these players just lift their heads up, survey and
Yes.
pass. They're always looking for an opening to pass forward or progress forward themselves. They never have their head down, just ready to pass it back to the back line. B is stable, reliable as a defensive player. She needs work on her passing accuracy and controlling the ball out of pressure. She loses it too often when more than one defender is around her, but she's getting better each week at that. It's just you can't lose possession in those moments. And Julia does lose possession in those moments sometimes too. So they need to get better there. But just as a pairing, like Grosso finally being a 6 is the best. And this is where she should stay. No more Grosso leading the charge in the final third. She needs to be the one distributing into the final third and breaking lines. And
Yeah.
we saw that in this match for the most part, mostly in that first 70 minutes. Those last 20 minutes plus the 13 added time was just everything kind of fell apart, which was weird. But yeah, those two together, I think, need to be the two together for the rest of the season. That is it. That is them.
Yeah, it was good to see. And yeah, just to touch on them talking, or the way they keep their heads up, it it's such a change of pace from what we've seen this year and even last year. You can tell that it makes the midfield better. It makes the progression up the field better, and the patience that I noticed that with Grosso on the ball, the patience that exists even in like tight spaces, or when there's somebody standing right in front of her, she's still looking and surveying the field to see where the opening is, whether it is her making a short a long pass, or taking on that player, she is very decisive, but she's patient with her decision, if that makes sense. Like she's going to more than likely make the right decision, but she thinks about it. She's not just immediately like, oh God, there's somebody's there. I gotta do something. No, you can see that she's very methodical in what she's doing because she's done this for a while. And you could just tell that she was more comfortable on the field in this position than being up on the front line. She didn't do bad on the front line, but I feel like at times you forgot that she was on the field because she wasn't making an impact. In this game, she was making an impact. Their ability to shut down the Moultrie, the Sinclairs, the Sam Coffees, huge. I mean, there were times where they didn't, of course, that's going to
Yeah.
happen. You can't shut down excellent players all the time, but they didn't get very many opportunities. Like Alyssa Nair had hardly any saves in the game in the first
Two.
70 minutes. In the whole game, it was two.
Just
Okay.
two
For some
saves.
reason, the last few minutes of the game felt like it was
Those
way
were
more stressful than what
all
it was.
off target. Those are all
Yeah.
misses.
But yeah, so Alyssa didn't have to do much. And that was a lot. I think it had a lot to do with the strength in our midfield, which we've been lacking for the most of the season. Not saying our back line didn't do an excellent job, but I think having that possession in the middle of the field really helped strengthen everything across the board.
Yeah, I would say even the midfield plus the back line, just two shots on target. I think they had a couple of blocks in there. Nothing more you could ask for from Alyssa than to step up and stop those two shots. She also distributed the ball pretty well back there, which isn't usually Alyssa's strong suit, at least with her feet. But she had 91% passing accuracy.
Wow.
16 of 19 on long balls. Like that's not very Alyssa Nair. It's one of her struggle areas is those long balls, but I think it helps so much to have players to distribute to, like Hannah Anderson or Natalia on the outside, or even in those moments where she carries the ball up or has to do a goal kick, where you have players like B, like Hannah, who are really tall, who are good targets to have. That'll increase your your accuracy when those players can just kind of go get it. Um, but like, I know we went defense, midfield, onto goalkeeper, but Alyssa Nair now is second of all time, 47 clean sheets, just 5 clean sheets away from tying Nicole Barnhart's league shutout record at 52. So, like, let's get Alyssa Nair more clean sheets with this group.
We're not going to
This
give up a
group can
goal the
do it.
rest of the season.
This group can do it. I
They
believe in
can.
them.
I really think they can. Like our defensive line is excellent. And now getting the midfield like figured out a little bit. But moving forward, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the lineup's going to look like next week. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I need, like, this was a perfect first step. I just don't want them to regress. Um because it can happen. Like, that defensive line has gotten, and even the midfield have gotten so much rotation out of it. Like, think about the midfield, where it's always been Cari, like, stable right there. But to her right has been Julia Bianchi, Leilani Nesbith, B. Franklin. Um, and it's like that, the rotation of people that filled that position has been a lot. And now defensively, like, our back line literally is, like, Taylor started the first match of the year, but then Tatum won that position for a long time. Uh, and Natalia has been the only consistent one there, because initially it was Sam, then it was Hannah, and that right back spot has been everybody. Everybody that has played on the field has played right back for the for the Chicago Red Stars. You know, even Chardonnay Curran was out there a couple times, but you know, Maxi, Cam, Tatum, and Taylor, and just just a plethora of players have played on that back line. So to have 4 players on that back line who can play those positions and play them well, I have confidence that this team for the rest of the season can hold off if the offense plays like they did for those first 70, 75 minutes of that match. Because what the team's struggles have been this whole season is the lack of offense has brought too much pressure on the defense, too much or so much that it tires them out, and that's what lets up goals. And this was the perfect example of the offense was doing so much for 70, 75 minutes that in those final minutes of that match, the defense had enough energy to keep Portland at bay. And they need to continue to do that against these last several opponents, or else the season will fall apart. And I don't want that. So offensively, we can talk about that. Ali Schlegel, like
Healthy
great,
Ali Schlegel,
healthy Ali Schlegel. Welcome back, Ali Schlegel. Goal, goal, goal.
right? Ali
Um,
Schlegel.
Great pressure by Natu to step up on Moultrie to force that back pass. Bad decision making by Maka in goal, off her line. Allie's first touch on the ball to her right side, superb. The finish was so easy as Hubley and Maka were just on the ground watching.
And then the
And then and then that and
you gotta put
then
the hands up to the ears for those that aren't watching.
and then she did what the kids call the gritty, I believe.
Oh, I
Um
don't. You're asking the wrong person.
I believe that is what I saw on the social medias.
Oh,
But she's awesome. Fifth goal of the season, second on the team, such a badass. That pink headband. Oh, if you see that pink headband as a
look out.
defender, you're done for. You're done
She
for.
has no regard for anything. She's gonna go after the ball. It doesn't matter. That's what I love about her. She just goes. I read an interesting take from as I said, I was reading all the sad Portland fans.
Okay.
Um, and what somebody said is that Mackenzie Arnold does not feel comfortable passing the ball to
Okay.
Hubley because of the issues that they've had in the past. Therefore, I wonder if Chicago scouted that and knows that she's not going to pass it to Hubley, so they jump the routes of the other players because she like
Perhaps.
somebody put a distribution chart out there and she does not pass the ball to Hubley because
Huh.
of too many. There's been issues because she's really poor at receiving and then bringing the ball up the field, I guess, and they've given up goals from errors that she's made. So that's an
Oh,
interesting fact. I was like,
that's fascinating.
maybe
I
we
like that.
knew that.
I mean, you know how much scouting goes into these
Right.
matches, so I would not doubt that that is something that our front line was made aware of. And the
It's like they knew.
yeah, and well, they kept setting traps and uh like the press by Chicago has always been this whole season pretty good when it's like when Penelope was up there, when Allie's been there, and when Misa's been there. And then obviously Mal. You lose Penelope, you add Ludmilla, and she is excellent in the press. Allie's back, who's excellent in the press. You're starting Mies, who's also excellent in the press. But it wasn't just the um actual pressure on the ball up high in Portland's own half that was getting Portland. It was either Ali and Mal or Ali and Ludmilla sitting in the middle of the field blocking that outlet to Sam Coffey and forcing Mackenzie Arnold to pass it to the outside to her backs, and Mal or Ludmilla and then Mies just pinning them into the corners or intercepting. And it was so smart. And you can't do that without players that have that amount of speed that these players have on Chicago's front line. Even someone like Allie, who doesn't have a whole lot of speed, like her energy is her speed. Like the amount of times that she'll come at you and doesn't give up like other players would is a problem for teams. And that front four played so well together in that first half that you could see that it didn't work out in the second half as much, um, because you pulled Mies and then literally every sub was for someone on our front line. But Ali Schlegel overall, has had ups and downs in her career, but this season was starting off really well for her. And then she went out with an illness that seemed to keep her off the field and out of practice for a while. And then she didn't really seem like herself for the last several times she's been out there. But she's back. She looks healthy, and I'm excited that that she was the hero of this match.
She's very good at making players feel uncomfortable. She's her and Ludmilla and Joseph, I would call them very pesky players. They are going to be all up in your business. Like you have the ball, they're right there. Even if they're not right there, Allie's gonna make herself known. She makes herself big. She tries to close down angles. She's very good at angles on pressure of knowing like I'm not gonna get to the person that has the ball before they pass it, but I'm gonna try and cut off at least this one pass. And I think that because then you know that it's covered elsewhere, hopefully. That's the goal. But as you said, the game plan to shut down Sam Coffey, that shows you that Portland runs on coffee. Haha. Uh, and but she's their playmaker. She is what makes them transition into their offense. And we did an excellent job of shutting Sam down for the most part.
Mhm.
And I just that front line though, with their pressure, it's very hard to keep that up for 90 minutes. I understand the
Yep.
subs. But I just can't say, as you said, having Ali Schlegel back is just I love her. She is a fantastic player. I was wondering how she was going to be because I know her and Penelope were really close, and now that she's gone, but she seems to be fine. Obviously, I know that she's a professional. She's not going to let that affect her, but and she's back and healthy from her illness, and she just I just love her energy so much. I can't say anything more. And now she's got huge energy players around her too, with Ludmilla and Jamise and Mal. Like we have a front line that can keep up with Mal now too. Like Ludmilla and Jamise can keep up with Mal.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. Mal doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting up front of all the sprinting all the time now.
Yeah, and players like Penelope and Jenna could keep up with Mal at times, especially Penelope. Jenna could if she was essentially on the same line as her, but Jenna tends to play a lot more defensively, and that's why she was never sort of up there unless it was on like those. We saw it in moments like with her assists to Mal and Mal's assist to her. Um, but players like Ludmilla and Mies have shown that they can come into this league as a rookie and can come into this league as a player who's never played in this league before and immediately just step up and know that they're and know what their role is on this team, and that is to move the ball forward and find each other and find Mal, and they can do that, and if they can continue to do that and find more um, connection with each other and just have a little bit more development the following season, the rest of the season, but the following season will be even better because like Ludmilla was fantastic all around. Her effort was outstanding. Her timing was slightly off, but she'll get that once she gets to know the players better. I loved her high press. I loved the trap she set to force Portland to take long balls. And she was just so good, like a much needed absence, or much needed in the absence of Penelope after the trade. And we didn't know when she was going to show up. And then she came in at half or or in the second half of the last match and played well and just improved upon the several minutes that she got in that first match of her NWSL career and put in a brilliant shift um, this next time.
Yeah, I would call Ludmilla a disruptor. That is what she does. She just when she is pressing, she is disrupting everything that's happening. She's flying all over the field, at the keeper, at the back line, at the midfielders. She's going to be all over the place. And she can do it. She's got a very solid motor, which is also amazing. She
Very
also
similar
I
to
noticed.
Allie's, I thought.
Yes, yes, for sure. I think they play very similarly, which is why I think I see a good solid connection building between them. I also noticed a bit of a connection with Jamise happening there. There was a lot of three game happening with Mal, Jamise, and Ludmilla. And I'm like, man, give them some more time here. Oh, it's gonna be
Yeah.
good. It's gonna be good. And the thing is, with Jamise, if she's building those connections, she's going to build herself right into the permanent starting lineup because what are you going to like you can't break that up if they're cooking. You can't. Did I just use a slang term the youth say?
I don't know.
um but if they're playing well, like you're not going to break that up. And it I don't know. I was very impressed by their play. The amount of time we had the ball in the final third. I said at one point they don't even know what to do with this much possession in the final third because like we just had the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
uh Chicago had more touches in the 18-yard box than Portland did. When did when does that happen?
It
Uh,
doesn't.
I think they had 21 and Portland had 20. Like we don't usually keep up with teams in that way. There's not a whole lot of touches in the 18-yard box. I know they still only got I think like 6 shots on goal or 6 shots, only 2 on goal, but um that I think that'll get better as these players get to know each other more. They had more corners than Portland. Um, the possession
Better
battle
than that game we
was,
had 0.
yeah. The possession battle was, which was just last match. The
Oh, yep.
possession battle was better. 50-50 at half, 53-47 by the end of it. You and I had talked about how Portland would allow them to have more possession. I didn't think they'd let them have that much more possession,
And I
which
don't know
I
if they were actually
I
letting that happen.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly. Initially, it felt like they were allowing them to, and then it certainly became oh wait, we probably should actually contain them, and they did for the most part. But I loved, just to go back to Ludmilla for a second, like I love the way that she gets up on players and just like pokes her foot in there like constantly. Um, I thought it was very impressive. I think she only had like 1 or 2 times where she like actually just knocked the player uh down from
And
doing
that's
that, which is
okay.
fine. That's soccer. All the other times she was actually like winning throws from poking it off of people or at least just getting the ball out of bounds. And then Mies is just a hell of a rookie. Needs to make better decisions in the box, but she's she does what is this, like her 6th start in the NWSL? It's fine. But also
Steal of the
like
draft.
steal of the draft. I certainly her and Hannah are just like the all of like I don't know anybody we got in the second, third, and fourth round. It was like what the heck? Where did these? How did no one pick up these players? Um, and uh, just she also has the same. kind of effort that everyone else puts in on that front line. And it's nice that we can have this moment in this match where we have a midfield that can make these passes and distribute to this front line to show what they can actually do. Because usually we have a front line that is just playing defense constantly, and then not getting the ball, or someone's losing possession easily, and it they couldn't show what they're capable of. And there have been moments in this season where they have been able to. And I'm sure if they had a little more time together, this match would have been closer to like a 2-0, 3-0. It probably could have been 2-0 if Mal didn't miss that PK.
Please
But
let somebody else take PKs.
but just like I'm really excited to just keep watching Mies grow. She left at half due to a knee injury that Lauren said that he didn't think was too serious. So the way he sounded made it sound like she's probably fine. We'll see if she comes back next week and is still in that starting role. But to talk about Mal, Mal looked a little more like, Mal like as the match went on. I think she's starting to understand the newer players around her a little more, but still is trying to make adjustments to this new lineup, especially when she's like, trying to play off of Julia for the last few weeks to her right or left, and now is trying to understand Julia's presence behind her instead. Um, and then unfortunately, she misses that PK that I mentioned, which I think they should just, like Liz said, just
Enough.
find someone
Enough.
else.
Enough. Let Julia take them.
She's
My God.
she's missed enough.
Wasn't that 6? I think.
I didn't look at the numbers. I didn't want to.
I feel like they said that on the broadcast that that was her 6th PK miss in her
Ugh.
carehave in the NWSL or something like that.
Yeah, I would, if Sam was still healthy, I would have said Sam.
Let Kuika take it. I would have let Kuika take it for the sake if it was at Portland. I would have done it. But that's me, and I'm very petty like that. So
And then I'll just upset Liz by saying that, Julia scored the PK that won Canada the gold
no,
medal in 2021. So maybe we should
no,
just let Julia take it.
no,
She's
no.
proven that she can take
I'm fine with
PKs
it.
in big moments.
I just don't need that brought
So
back to my soul.
so just let her do that for Chicago.
I just think that somebody else needs to take it. I don't care if it's Ali Schlegel. I don't care. Like it just needs to be somebody else.
Yeah,
Like at
it
this
was
point.
just it had good power. It was just too it was just at the perfect height for a keeper to
Yeah,
save
it's
it.
chest
And
high to the right, just a couple steps. If she goes the other way, no problem. But like you have to get that lower or higher, and it's got to be to the corner.
yeah,
You can't have that. It was easy. It was an easy PK saves are not easy. I should not say that because they're
yeah,
not. I hate when people say that.
yeah,
But she didn't have to, if she wouldn't have even guessed, which she did guess correctly, she still would have saved it because it was at a perfect height. And Arnold's also an excellent keeper, so there's that too.
hmm yeah. Arnold's struggles in this league, I think, have come from the speed of the league and the transitional play of the league. The European WSL is a lot more setup play, very like let's pass the ball around and set up a play and get the ball to goal. And I think that's a lot easier for keepers to read and make decisions and be a lot more comfortable with what their back line is doing in front of them. And then in the NWSL, it's just like the pace of
Transition chaos.
yeah, it's transition chaos, and you have to make decisions in much quicker. And she made the wrong decision on that Ali Schlegel goal. And then she's made a couple of wrong reads in these last several matches that Portland has lost as well. But she's also made really great saves as well because she's a good keeper. And you're not gonna not be great. You're not gonna be bad all the time
Yeah,
as a
and
great
Portland's
keeper.
not going to go
So
sign a bad keeper. They're not
no, no,
going
no,
to
no,
do
no, no, no.
that.
no. And I would never say anything bad about Macca. I love Macca.
I would
um,
never say anything bad about Portland ever.
but so late in the match, Mal was on a breakaway. She was dragged to the ground with her arm pinned behind her back by Hubley. It was kind of awful to watch. I thought it was an incredibly dirty play. The commentators were calling it a professional foul, which was horrible. Um, she messed up her shoulder. Uh, like someone, her shoulder last week, I think was bothering her, and it was
Yep,
that
she had landed
shoulder
on it.
and it
Yep.
was that shoulder that was pulled back and that she landed on again. Lauren didn't have any update post match, but that play I thought was very dirty. I'm disgusted by the commentators for saying that it was a professional foul. Like if a player's on the ground injured, crying, whatever foul that was not professional. And I'm also disgusted by the broadcast team for showing the slow motion replay of Mal going down and getting injured, and the close ups on her face crying, like just unprofessional all around. It was wrong, and I hated it. Like a jersey tug, that's a professional foul. Pinning someone's arm behind their back and taking them to ground, not a professional foul. The yellow was obviously the only thing that was going to happen. Like that's not a red card foul, but it was dirty and I hated it.
I So the arm tug, fine, whatever. It was the act of her taking out her legs that caused the whole issue in my opinion. If she would just yanked her arm, just grab her arm and hold her.
But she didn't even yank her arm. She like
Like she
pinned
just
it
pi-
behind her back.
but then when she fell and hit her in the back of the legs, I think that's what caused
Oh,
Mal's
that too.
arm to
Sure.
like flip out. And so that's what I'm saying. If she doesn't do that, Mal probably doesn't even fall, or if she does, it's not going to be as bad as it was.
Hmm.
But I think the fact that she got her legs taken out from under her was the problem. And I agree with you on all accounts. Commentator, not a professional foul. I get the original thing that Hubley was trying to do was a professional foul. It got out of hand because of the other things that happened, the taking out of the legs, the pinning the arm, all of that stuff. Just grab her jersey. Or honestly, it probably would have been better if she would have just shoved her in the back because then
Sure.
she wouldn't have had her arm. Like honestly, any of those things would have been better. I get you're trying to Soph has it happen. We probably professionally fouled her in the game. I can't recall, but I'm sure we probably did because Soph gets it done to her all the time too. But again, then with the zooming in on her, showing slow-mo replays of the fall, like I don't like it, but yeah, she definitely did something to that. The way she landed and the way her arm was, it didn't look good. And she was immediately in pain,
Yeah.
crying. But the one thing it did give us is our captain is amazing. And that she goes over to Mal and I could read her lips and she asked the trainer for a towel so she could wipe the grass off Mal's face. And Alyssa Nair is so wholesome and I love her for taking care of her players and being there for we know that she cares about Mal so much and she
Yeah.
doesn't want to see her hurt given all of the things that she's seen. And I just love that our captain is that person and I hope that Mal's injury is not too serious and that she can hopefully come back at some point once we learn because as of this moment of us recording this we have no idea the status of her injury.
Yeah, so hopefully Mal's okay. It because it didn't look good. And I did not need to see Mal Swanson in tears injured on a pitch again in my life.
Nope,
That
I've
was I
enough. We've
hated
had
that.
enough of that.
But she did post that she was at the Cubs game today. There was a picture of her. She didn't have like a sling on. She looked happy.
Oh,
So I don't know. I didn't want to
maybe
read
it was a
too much
panic.
into it.
Maybe
Um,
you know how sometimes people if something hurts initially and then you panic
yeah.
and
And
maybe
she
it
still
was
could be injured. It's not, I
precautionary.
just mean like I don't think it's serious enough that she had to be like in a sling or anything. So that's good. But
That is very good news.
she still could be injured. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
and maybe she doesn't know yet.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, we'll find out from Lauren. I'll ask him in this pre-match presser that comes up this week. But just overall, like I said, I hope Mal's okay. because we don't need an
No.
injury to Mal ever again in her career.
And that's why I mentioned the issue with like the lineup because we hadn't talked about that yet with Grosso because I'm hoping that we keep her. If Mal can't go, I hope we still keep
Right.
her back
That's
in the
so
six.
true.
That's what I was talking about when I said that, and because we hadn't mentioned that. But also, I hope that Sugita is also okay. She
Yes.
went down injured in the game in a head-to-head collision with Jenna
Jenna,
Bike.
yeah.
Jenna seemed to be okay. Hopefully, she is okay because you can have after effects later on. But I just want to also say that Portland needs to get their crap together. There is no reason why Sugita should have been walking off that field the way she was walking. There should have been something to get her off the field. I heard that she was in a wheelchair. They put her in a
Yeah, she
wheelchair
was.
after. Why NWSL get it together?
Yeah.
Just
Like
get it together.
if your player needs to be in a wheelchair afterwards, they probably should have been carted off.
Because she could have done more damage to whatever is going on.
Yeah. I hated seeing that too. That
Yeah, we don't I don't need to see it either, but
yeah. I that like I said, the first 70 minutes of this match, 75 whatever, were fine. Like there wasn't much going on. I don't even think there were any yellows. There were no yellows by Chicago the entire time. And then eventually Portland had two. I need to go back and look. I'm sure I know that the Mal going down was one yellow. I don't remember when the other yellow came. Um, but the last 20 minutes of the 90 and then the 13 minutes of added time, just overall, just not a fun match to watch. It was getting out of hand. There were players down, uh, too many collisions. Things were getting really chippy. The ref was not doing anything to slow any of that down, and it was getting too out of hand. It was becoming very uh, what are they, the NWSL After Dark like I didn't like the way that it was going. Not just score line wise, I just like player safety wise. It was getting too much for me. And I did not like watching it.
I just looked to see when the other yellow was, and it was the foul that led to the PK on Reyes
Oh,
was the other
sure.
yellow. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
Yes.
only
So
one yellow in the last like 25 minutes of that match. Um, Probably not the best for a match that was that chippy. Um,
no.
Players on both sides probably should have been getting some cards to just chill things out because like it was getting pretty messy.
Yeah, and you don't hindsight's 2020, but it's like maybe if cards would have been given, then maybe fouls that led to the injuries wouldn't have occurred type of
Right,
thing.
right, right.
Again, you don't know, but it's just one of those things. I personally don't I hope that they don't go back and review that and suspend Jenna for some reason. I personally don't think that there's a suspension worthy, but I know
Yeah, I
there were
don't
people talking
think.
about that. I didn't see it that way. People were mentioning that it was similar to B's header that she had in the Kansas City game where she ran into Vanessa. And I
Okay.
don't agree. I don't think it was the same situation,
No.
but I that's just me. I don't, but I was reading people in the Discord were discussing it as well that they were wondering if they were going to go back and review that to suspend Jenna. I don't think that they will personally, and if they do, I'm going to kind of be annoyed because as we were talking about, the game was really chippy and a lot of fouls happened, and
Yeah.
then suspend Kelly Hubley. like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, if I think of the two situations together, I think B's was very different from Jenna's. I don't think B's should have been a suspension either.
she's
And
going for
if
the
I
ball.
and if I think that was a worse situation than what happened with Jenna, then I don't think Jenna should be a suspension either. I don't think Jenna saw her at all. She just went for the ball, got it, and then
It was a collision and it
Hina just
happens.
hit her on the back of the head. Like
Yeah.
there was no like I don't think Jenna even knew Hina was there. Like it didn't. I don't know. Whatever.
It was just very scary,
It
and I
was.
hope that she's okay.
Yeah, I thought that initially I thought Jenna got the worst of it, but then when I saw her standing up, I was like, I was like, okay, so Jenna seems cool, but Hina's still down, and I didn't realize initially how bad it was. And I hope that Hina's okay.
It's just one of those where you look at all the situations like Sam Staub when she tore her Achilles, her teammates helped her off the field, and Hina's getting into a wheelchair. Like we just need to do better as a league on making sure the players are safe and can get off the field appropriately after injuries. And please stop showing them. We don't need to see that. We don't
I've
need to
been a
see the injuries.
I've been a proponent of this for a long time. I don't like watching replays of injuries, and I don't like cutting to players on the ground injured or just in pain. I don't like the close-ups on their faces when they're in tears. Um, like there are different directors that don't do it, and I commend them for just showing crowd shots, showing players in a huddle, and then just the commentators talking about what's happening. That
We're
is the
going to a
way.
commercial because
That
they
is
do
the
those
way you should
random
go.
end commercials. They could have done full on commercials on the screen
Yeah,
instead.
yeah. That's what you do as a TV director in sports. I don't like the hey, let's show replays and let's show the players injured and
Yeah,
like
I don't need to see Mal crying. We've all seen more enough Mal crying for our entire lifetimes.
yeah, it's very similar to, I watch a lot of motor racing. In motor racing, it's very much a thing that if a crash happens, they wait for, confirmation that the drivers are okay to then show replays, because 'cause they're not gonna show, a driver get seriously injured or even a driver dying, just for good entertainment on television, and I think that all the broadcasters for the NWSL need to start looking into not doing those stupid decisions with their TV direction.
Yeah, I agree. I don't need it. And we also need to somehow get rid of the 9,000 minutes of stoppage time because I'm
1 minute stoppage time in the first half,
13.
13 in the second half. Well, that's because yeah, that was brutal.
I just
Um,
would like to say that did I not call that their back line is going to be the weakness and that was going to get us a win?
and that's what
And here we
happened.
go. I mean, you look at their roster, their lineup, and like Christine Sinclair is 41 years old and she played 70 plus minutes, I think, in that game. And
Yeah.
Becky Sauerbrun's 39 on the back line. It's different as a center back, but like that's a lot of older players on the team. Jesse Fleming's coming off the bench. Portland's a mess. Like I don't think they know what to do with Jesse Fleming, to be completely honest. Again, I went and did a deep dive in the Portland whole thing, and they're very upset with a lot of things, but a lot of people are upset with Jesse Fleming. I think she's a great player. I don't know what they're talking about. They're upset that they took the interim tag off Rob Gale. They're like, well, we shouldn't have done that. I think they need to pump
Mm,
the brakes too. Like this, yes, this is the first time this has happened to you, but it's okay. We've lost 4 games in a row, I'm sure. So,
yep.
um, but that's the thing, like you can come out of it. And I just am so proud of the team for not being scared. You can go into Providence Park and be scared. It's intimidating. That's why it's built the way it is. It's an intimidating place to play. And they came in, they stuck to their game plan. They were very, very good. They were the best we've seen them play all year by far. And I'm just really proud of the team, especially after I know Mal's injury was late, but to not get rattled and then 13 minutes of stoppage time to give up a goal and then only come away with a point, you got the win. Like just I'm just really, really proud of them for sticking to it and keeping the clean sheet.
Yeah, after all of that, they didn't even let up a shot on goal in all of that chaos, leading up to the
It
end of the
felt like
match.
it to
So
me, but
it felt like there were shots on goal, but it was just shots. That's all it was. Like nothing was making it to Alyssa, and that was the most important part. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm very proud of this team. And hopefully they can continue their success that they've started with this new streak. Let's see if they can move into that against San Diego. Um, this episode is going a little long, so I don't think we'll go into a big deep dive of San Diego, but I'll quickly say that Danny Colaprico's back from her injury. Shaw is back from her injury. Because of course, this is what always happens to the Red Stars.
Sheridan's
But
back from suspension.
Sheridan's back from suspension. Gurma is a killer, but we saw what Ludmilla did to her in the Olympics, the only player that seemed to give her any trouble. So
That like hurts my heart, but not my heart at the same time. I'm very conflicted.
outside of um outside of Gurma, San Diego's defense seems to be struggling, similar to Portland's. And I think that we should take advantage of what's going on. The Red Stars have had their best match this season, outside of this Portland one against San Diego when they won 3-0 last time. Um, they're losing 4-2 in wins against San Diego this in this period of San Diego's history. Mies had her best match of the season against San Diego with a goal and assist last time. So there are things to improve on from that last match, and that last match was fantastic already. So let's
We
do
play
that.
well against them. Yeah, we
Yep.
play. We are solidly matched up again. They play well against us. Like it's just a really solid matchup. They don't have Alex Morgan anymore, of course. She's
Yep.
now retired.
Landon Donovan
It's
is the coach, and this
yep,
team was better when Stoney was coaching.
yeah, Landon, I don't know. That's a whole thing. But I watching them play this last weekend, you can tell what he's trying to do. It's short passes, it's more quick passes to move the ball down the field type of thing. They're still learning how to do that. So our high press could really maybe have them turn the ball over more, and we could break on that as long as Gurma, we can get the ball away from Naomi. Then that just keep the ball away from Naomi, and I think we'll be fine. And so and
Yeah.
Danny. And so it'll be good. I have faith. I think they're going to win. This was the game that Riot Fest was supposed to ruin, but now that's not happening. So it is a very late kickoff, though. It is 8:30 local time in Chicago. So yuck.
I'll be there.
It's going to be late, but no
Yeah.
Riot Fest to deal with. I'm excited, though. I think that this is a good, it'll be a good team to play post Portland. And hopefully we can get some updates on Mao and Jamise, because those are two players that we definitely would love to see on the field again, so we can build up that chemistry with everybody and we can keep the same starting lineup so that
Yep.
they can all gel and Julia Grosso can continue to play the six.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see the same starting 11. So hopefully the injuries are not too serious. I'll keep everybody updated whenever we get information from the team on those injuries. So and then everything else that kind of comes out from that pre-match presser, we'll keep you informed. But with that, we'll wrap things up for this week. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. As always, make sure that you're subscribed on those platforms to keep up with when our episodes go up. And make sure that you leave us a like on YouTube, leave a review on all those podcast platforms that you listen to so others know to come to us for all your Red Stars content. Make sure you're following us on Red Stars Report's social media channels at Red Stars Report on all of them. Keep up with the latest news between the episodes, so you don't always have to wait for us to tell you. And don't forget to join our Discord. We're still growing strong there. It's a fantastic community. You can join in the link in the description. I promise you'll have a fantastic time. With that, we'll see you next week.
Time.
Oh, you having an okay time? Yeah, exactly. What is this hat for all those listeners says
Yes.
I'm having an okay time?
I have having an okay time hat on.
Shout out to Snacks, RIP
Yes.
Snacks.
Right.
With that, we'll see you next week for another Red Stars Report.